This is a purple tomato. Just kidding, it's your typical garden variety type, but the purple ones do exist. Tomatoes that are purple all the way through aren't available anywhere in the world just yet. That's because they're genetically modified, but they're on the cusp of getting the approval from regulators to end up on your plate. And the journey of this little tomato from a lab in the UK to your salad bowl could be a really big deal. To start, in lab experiments, cancer-prone mice that were fed purple tomato powder
lived 30% longer.
But nutrition is only one part of the story. It's also about the shelf life of the food we eat and its origins. Let's dig in. A GMO, or genetically modified organism, is an organism whose genetic material has been altered using genetic engineering to include the genes of another organism. Believe it or not, this could be the second genetically modified tomato to hit shelves. The Flavor Saver tomato was sold in grocery stores in the 90s, but at the end of the day, it was kind of a flop because it was expensive to produce and market. Plus, there was public distrust and backlash against GMOs, a distrust that kind of persists to this day. Are they safe? Are they natural? Who knows? We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about nutrition. The purple GMO tomatoes that could go on sale sometime soon are purple all the way through because they're loaded with antioxidants called anthocyanins. They're found in foods like blueberries and blackberries, and they give those fruits their signature colors. Nutrition experts and studies say that these molecules are good for us because they help our cells fight off their version of stress, which helps them stay healthy longer. Nearly 20 years ago, Kathy Martin, who's a plant geneticist at the John Innes Center in the UK, set out to make a tomato that was loaded with anthocyanins.
We thought that this was a cool way of doing something that was quite attractive and a bit different.
To try to make a better tomato, she and her team inserted 2 genes from the snapdragon into regular tomatoes. Those genes act like a switch to turn on the production of anthocyanins. In a study from 2008, Kathy and her team showed that cancer-prone mice whose diet was supplemented with purple tomato powder live longer than those supplemented with red tomato powder.
And if you think that that's just a change in diet, no drugs, just a change in diet, that's pretty phenomenal, really.
Other food science experts I spoke to warned that the effects we see in lab animals don't always pan out in humans. But everyone seemed to agree that fruits and veggies should be the foundation of a good diet. Another benefit of these GMO purple tomatoes is their longer shelf life. That's good because it could make them more commercially viable and reduce food waste.
They have double the shelf life. So this tomato has been sitting on the bench for about 6 weeks.
Her purple tomato doesn't wrinkle or go soft as fast as a regular tomato. Plus, it's also less susceptible to gray mold. But there are 2 big questions around GMOs. Are they natural? And are they safe? At first glance, the natural question seems to have a pretty obvious answer. No, because GMOs don't exist in nature. But my conversation with Harry Klee, a plant biologist at the University of Florida, made me think that maybe it's not quite that simple. He told me that many of the foods we eat today aren't all natural either. They're the product of years of deliberate genetic tweaking.
After World War II, the International Atomic Energy Agency used to routinely take batches of seeds like wheat, corn, and expose them to high levels of radiation in order to induce mutations.
The word mutation kind of makes us cringe, but mutations are actually a foundational part of nature. Farmers and the ag industry leverage mutations or genetic changes to make their products better. For example, the mass production of seedless grapes and watermelons didn't happen naturally. They're the product of years of research and development to make them easier for us to eat. Usually, to land on a beneficial mutation, developers have to screen thousands of genetic changes to find the one they're looking for. Geneticists say that GMOs and genetic engineering are just a high-tech, faster, and more precise version of that process. That brings us to the question of safety. Could this high-speed evolution actually make our foods unsafe?
Well, that's where the government comes in.
For a GMO food to make it to market, developers have to get regulatory approval. That involves giving regulators data on its chemistry and other characteristics. Kathy and her collaborators have done that, and they're waiting to get clearance from regulators to sell their tomato in the US. If this tomato gets approved, it would be the first genetically modified tomato to be sold directly to consumers since the 1990s. To start, the purple tomatoes will be sold to home growers as seeds. What do they taste like?
They taste like tomatoes. I can't claim anything special. They just taste like tomatoes.
The researchers I spoke to said that eating GMOs really just boils down to personal choice. They do expect that in the future, more of our food will be genetically altered through genetic engineering. And recently, the FDA cleared the way for the consumption of gene-edited cattle that are supposed to be more resistant to extreme heat. Gene-edited foods will not be labeled as GMOs because they don't contain genetic material from another organism. So they don't fit the technical definition of what a GMO is. Plus, in January, regulators retired the GMO label, which will be replaced by bioengineered or derived from bioengineering. To be perfectly honest with you, I am kind of curious about what a purple pasta tomato sauce would taste like, or maybe some purple ketchup to go with my fries. Would you try a GMO tomato? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this video, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching y buen provecho.